Heliodora is a free verse poem that was published in even named collection Heliodora and Other Poems in 1924. In retrospect, Ezra Pound wrote, I think one should write vers libre only when one must. That is to say, only when the thing builds up a rhythm more beautiful than that of set meters, or more real, more a part of the emotion of the thing, more germane, intimate, interpretative than the measure of regular accentual verse. A rhythm which discontents one with set iambic or set anapestic. Heliodora is an excellent example. The poem's thing is a back and forth between two artists interspersed by the speaker's own back and forth, and the thing has such an excellent rhythm, almost like a well rehearsed ballet dance, that meter and rhyme can add precious little. And side note, while it is all well and good to encourage freedom in writing free verse, we'd also be well served by what Pound said in the age of what I call internet poetry. As for every man his own poet, the more every man knows about poetry, the better. I believe in everyone writing poetry who wants to. Most do. I believe in every man knowing enough of music to play God Bless Our Home on the harmonium, but I do not believe in every man giving concerts and printing his sin. On the subject matter of the poem itself, the poem traces the exercise of two artists in seeking out a name for a woman. Lovely names are in bloom, but there is also the strong undercurrent of a creative rivalry. Not dissimilar to the feeling of reading somebody's writing, realizing slowly at first and then all of a sudden the awful truth of the limits to your own ability, and eventually surrendering to the beauty of it. Most poems that I make videos out of are poems you'll find have already been picked apart. Writing the scripts for these videos is often walking the tightrope between not saying the wrong thing about a line that's already been determined and not regurgitating what's already been determined. With this poem, I've had no help. I've offered up half my Sunday, listened, processed every pause, read, reread, and on Monday morning as I write this, I'm making sense of it. And so, for possibly the first time, I'm asking you, the viewer, for your take. At the least, I know if I was or wasn't totally off and overthinking. He and I sought together over the spattered table rhymes and flowers, gifts for a name. He said, among others, I will bring. And the phrase was just and good, but not as good as mine, the narcissus that loves the rain. We strove for a name while the light of the lamps burned thin and the outer dawn came in, a ghost, the last in the feast or the first, to sit within with the two that remained to quibble in flowers and verse over a girl's name. He said the rain loving, I said the narcissus, drunk with the rain. Yet I had lost, for he said the rose, the lover's gift, is loved of love. He said it, loved of love. I waited, even as he spoke, to see the room filled with a light, as when in winter the embers catch in a wind when a room is dank. So it would be filled, I thought, our room with a light when he said, and he said it first, the rose, the lover's delight, is loved of love. But the light was the same. Then he caught, seeing the fire in my eyes, my fire, my fever perhaps, for he leaned with the purple wine stained on his sleeve and said this, did you ever think a girl's mouth caught in a kiss is a lily that laughs? I had not. I saw it now as men must see it forever afterwards. No poet could write again, the red lily, a girl's laugh caught in a kiss. It was his to pour in the vat from which all poets dip and quaff, for poets are brothers in this. So I saw the fire in his eyes. It was almost my fire. He was younger. I saw the face so white, my heart beat. It was almost my face. I said, surprise the muses, take them by surprise. It is late, rather it is dawn rise. Those ladies sleep, the nine, our own king's mistresses. A name to rhyme, flowers to bring to a name. What was one girl faint and shy, with eyes like the myrtle? I said, her underlids are rather like myrtle, to vie with the nine. Let him take the name. He had the rhymes. The rose laughed of love. The lily, a mouth that laughs. He had the gift. The scented crocus, the purple hyacinth. What was one girl to the nine? He said, I will make her a wreath. He said, I will write it thus. I will bring you the lily that laughs. I will twine with soft narcissus, the myrtle, sweet crocus, white violet, the purple hyacinth, and last the rose, loved of love. That these may drip on your hair, the less soft flowers may mingle sweet with the sweet of Heliodora's locks, myrcurled. He wrote myrcurled, I think, the first. I said, they sleep the night. When he shouted, swift and passionate, that for the nine. Above the hills the sun is about to wake, and today white violets shine beside white lilies adrift on the mountainside. Today the narcissus opens that loves the rain. I watched him to the door, catching his robe as the wine bowl crashed to the floor, spilling a few wet leaves, his purple hyacinth. I saw him out of the door, and I thought, there will never be a poet in all the centuries after this who will dare write, after my friend's verse, a girl's mouth is a lily kissed. The speaker and their writing partner are sat at a rain-spattered table seeking a name. The partner starts and will immediately offer a disclaimer by the speaker as to its merit. Good, but not as good as mine, with the narcissus that loves the rain. Narcissus is a flower, but is also a character in Greek mythology who fell in love with his own reflection in the waters of a spring and pined away. And as someone that recently concluded that it takes a certain obsession with the self to be creative, the early mention of Narcissus offers interesting implications. Good, but not as good as mine. They're striving late into the night. The lamps are burning away, dawn is impending, and is compared to a ghost that finds its space between the two writers. Time as the enemy to creativity? The next stanza develops the Narcissus imagery further before we hit the pivot of the poem. A pivot where the speaker loses because her partner says, the rose, the lover's gift, is loved of love. And it takes her a hot minute to respond, a hot minute in which she waits for the space around her to change, for it to be filled with light the way a cold room is made warm by a stray gust of wind. Because to her, that line, and to be sure a line that he said, is seismic. Something must have changed in this world when that line emerged, but it doesn't. The light, the fire, the fever is in her eyes, and when her partner catches it, he leans over and drops one more of those lines. Did you ever think a girl's mouth caught in a kiss is a lily that laughs? The speaker hadn't. But she sees it now and forever, at least for those that have read the line, a mouth caught in a kiss will be a lily. Seismic. And it belonged to him. Artistic ingenuity is preserved by ownership. No poet could ever write that line again and have it mean something. But that line will find a place in the vat from which all poets dip and quaff. The fire is in his eyes now. Her heart beats. That line could have been hers, but it wasn't. Hence the poem and this video, I suppose. The speaker asks her partner to surprise the 9 muses. That reference is interesting, especially taken along with the phrase that ensues shortly after. What was one girl faint and shy, with eyes like the myrtle, to vie with the 9? To her, it is implausible that the nebulous image of a young girl and not the 9 muses elicits a line like that. And then she lets go. She, not so graciously, lets him have the name and the muse. He had the rhymes and the gift. It was one young girl. She'd still have the 9 muses. In the next 2 stanzas, the partner describes the wreath he'll make for that young girl. A wreath of all sorts of flowers, the narcissus and the myrtle, the crocus and the violets, the hyacinth, and of course, the rose, loved of love. And when she brings up the muses again in the penultimate stanza, he remarks swiftly and passionately that for the 9 before he goes on to describe an abloom mountainside facing up to a waking sun. Now this is a set of lines that has left me befuddled for the better part of an hour. It's not a fight I want to keep at because the last stanza is infinitely more tempting, so I'm taking the license to give up. Her partner leaves in a big flourish, the rope behind him, wine wall crashing, wine on the floor and of the same color as the hyacinth. And as he leaves, the thought returns that no poet will, in the centuries to come, dare write, a girl's mouth is a lily kissed. That's a line that's been written by her friend, and it will live forever. Now maybe it speaks to my own unrelenting ache for it, but there is nothing quite as tantalizing and dangerous as a dance with words between creators with egos of their own. when the rest of the world is asleep, with nothing and nobody, not even the nine muses to serve as inspiration, but the impulses of your own mind sharpened by those of the other. Heliodora is a poem that is astounding in its lyrical, evocative capture of it all. Fleeting resentment, lasting ownership, unwilling surrender, desperate self assertion, and a deep, undying appreciation for the thing. In that sense, Heliodora is HD's pour into the vat. And this video is my quaff.